Well, hello, friends. Today we have a finished object. We have a few whip updates. We have a shop update, some Yarncentric and Maryland sheep and wool hauls to share. So if this sounds like your cup of tea, grab something to drink, grab a project to work on, and join me. Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of the Knit, Knot, and Weave podcast. This is my little corner of the YouTube where I share all about my fibre adventures. That can be knitting, crocheting, weaving, yarn dyeing, spinning, or any other crafty rabbit hole I go down.
So, editing me here, I am so out of practice, I totally forgot to introduce myself. My name is Dorothy, and I am coming to you from Columbia, Maryland. These are all the places that you can find me out on the interwebs if you would like to get in touch with me. I cannot believe I forgot to do that. So, anyway, let's go back to our regularly scheduled program.
So, like I said, I have a few things to share with you guys. I know it's been a while. It has been very busy for me over here the last few months. I vended my first show at the Frederick Fiber Festival, and then the following weekend was Maryland Sheep and Wool, and then we started testing at school, and then I went away to Pittsburgh to visit some friends, and now I'm trying to catch up with all of you lovely folks. So, this is going to be a normal episode. I'm going to share a finished objects, a few whips, some spinning projects. I'm going to share some shop updates and some shop samples that friends have kindly made for me for my Frederick Fiber Festival, and I will share my purchases from Yarncentric, Maryland Sheep and Wool, and my Pittsburgh visit, and let's get started. So first up, I have finished, finally, my Big Love cardigan. I would put it on, but it is raining and yucky and a little too sticky for me today to wear something this heavy. It does still need to be blocked, and I need to weave in all the ends, but here we have it all finished. Now, I did share in my last podcast that I had run out of yarn and I needed to order. I had ordered two different yarns to see which one would go best, and I wound up using a 100% merino yarn. So this was originally made in Queensland Collection Uruguay Chunky, which is a merino, alpaca, and silk mix. And I wound up purchasing Cool Wool Super Big by Lana Grosso, which was 100% merino. It had basically the same weight, the same thickness, and the same twist. Let's see if it shows up here. Yeah, you can see just a little bit of the difference. Trying to see it in the camera. Right around here. So I think that's more from probably the sheen of the silk not being in here. But like I said, this is probably really going to be for me around the house. In person, it doesn't look too bad. So even if I do wind up wearing it out, I'm not mad about it. It is a lovely, warm cardigan. I'm looking forward to wearing it. As you can see, I have tons of ends to weave in the center. I probably won't weave them all in. I'm hoping that they'll all just felt. But I am super happy with it. I am super pleased that it is a finished object and it is off my needles. So the cardigan is called the Big Love, and the designer is Yarncentric, and the pattern is a $7.15 pattern on Ravelry. It uses an Aran weight yarn, and that is what I used. Although it's an Aran weight yarn, it is a tight knit because it is knit on US 6s, which are 4.0 millimeter needles. And it's going to be super, super warm this winter. And that is my one and only, well, technically, no, not my only finished object. I will be sharing a couple of other finished objects. One for me, a few from other friends that have made me shop samples for the Frederick Fiber Festival, my very first festival that I vended at. Okay, so next up I have an almost finished object. It's in a drawstring bag that I sewed myself. I used to sell bags eons ago. And this is my traveler cowl. This is one of my 12 cast-ons for 2026. I had spun the yarn last year. I think it was last year during Tour de Felice. The yarn is the Tweedy Shanico base from Yarn Jam, and it was part of Trisha's first podcaster collaboration with Colorways. And I purchased 2 skeins of the Shanico Tweed in the Gently Chaotic Knits colorway. So it's this lovely like barn red, blues, and golden yellows. And the tweed is multicolored. Hopefully you could see that. And then I'm trying to remember how this gets sewn up. So this needs to be blocked. And then these 2 edges get sewn together. And then there's my cowl. So I'm super happy as to how this turned out. I did have to frog it back a little bit because I don't know, I must have mixed up my rows and mixed up my sides because it was doing some weird funky shape that was not correct. So I pulled it all out, got back to where I think I was correct, and managed to continue on. And I have just this itty bitty tiny bit left of my hand spun, so it was perfect. And this was knit on my, what are these? Why am I looking on here? Why am I not looking at my 4.5 millimeter US 7 carbons, Knitter's Pride carbon needles. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about this. This just needs a good blocking and a sewing, and I will be able to wear it again. Wear it again. Wear it, period. So, one of my 12 cast-ons is officially finished. Yay! Okay, not officially finished, almost finished. Okay, my next whip is in this lovely bag from Toad Hollow. And this is my Grid Gambit. This is a pattern by Samantha Guerin. And let me see, where is that one? That is an $8 pattern on Ravelry. And I used Feederbrook Farm that I purchased at Rhinebeck last year, which is the New York Sheep and Wool Festival that is in October. And I used their Entropy DK in Solar Flare, and then their Sparkle in black. And this was knit on a 4.5 millimeter needle. And again, this needs a good blocking. I just love how the colors came out. So it needs a good blocking, and then it will get sewn up over here, and I will have my Grid Gambit. And I have this much left of the Solar Flare, and this little bit left of the black. So I don't think this is going to be enough for a second one, but I will probably weigh it and figure it out, because if it is, I might make a second one. Or maybe I'll make, I can't remember if this has 2 sizes or not, but I'm super excited to wear this one. I love the colors of this. That was just, So this was a super easy pattern to follow. If you could read your knitting, once you got to a certain point, you really didn't need the pattern anymore, because you would know that you needed to do 6 rows here, and then it was switching to these little, like, I don't know, I call them Rubik's Cube boxes, and then stripes. So it was really easy to know where you were and when you needed to switch the pattern back and forth. The Traveler Shawl, I probably could if I read it a little bit better, like knowing which time I needed to knit and purl, but it was also a pretty easy pattern to follow. So I'm super happy that I have 2 of my 12 almost finished. Let's see, I have Oh, let me update you on this. This is just a bag from, what are these bags? Oh, the 31 project bags. Not project bags, 31 bags. I have no idea if they're still in business, no idea if they still sell these little bags, but these were like $5 and it came with this and a little pouch on the inside. But this is my traveler shawl, and I am almost finished with the first section. This was also BFL from Feederbrook Farm that I spun up. It was their, if you're a spinner and you've ever been to the Feederbrook Farm booths, they usually have their bags of mill ends, and I grabbed a couple of bags that had similar colors in it. And I spun this up last year during Tour de Fleece. And unfortunately, this is all I have left right now. So I will have to pull out my other bag that I have of their mill ends in pretty similar colors and spin that up so that I can finish this shawl. This is a bit more orange than I really anticipated. It didn't look like there was so much orange in the bags, but I love it. I still enjoy it. This is very fun to knit. This can be some mindless TV knitting. I just have to look every now and then to make sure whether it's a knit or purl row, and as long as I keep track of whether I'm on the right side or wrong side, I can almost figure it out. I guess I've done this enough that between this and the cowl that I should know this pattern by now. But so almost, but now I need to do some spinning so that I can finish this. But I'm thrilled that I have 2 projects almost completed with yarn that I spun myself. Super, super happy about all that. And then I needed to do a little pivoting in my knitting. When I was dyeing up all the yarn for my show at the Frederick Fiber Festival, excuse me, I had managed to ask a couple of friends to knit up some samples for me as I was dyeing it. And so let me share with you the samples they knit up and the colorways that I have. And well, let me just, where am I? Hello. So first up, my friend Kit, I gave her a skein of my Tweety sock base. And this is the colorway Nizlaren. I used a lot of Faye names because this just reminded me of little Faye stuff. And so she knit me the flax baby sweater so that people could see how it knits up. And you could see that if you have a smaller circumference, it might do a little striping. I do have a little bit of this left, so I'm probably gonna swatch up a sample on my sock knitting machine so that people can see how it knits up in socks. But I just love these colorways, a bit of turquoise, a little bit of green, and a little bit of yellow, and those little neps just make it look like little spots of black dye. I thought this was really, really cute. And then I made a special colorway for the Frederick Fiber Festival show. Since we were getting ready to go into summer, I made a colorway called Ocean, and my friend Judy knit up this beautiful garter stitch scarf to show off the colorways, and I had dyed this color in several different bases. And so the leftovers will be going up in my shop. I am working on getting them all photographed and uploading them. Right now I am still on Etsy, but I will be moving over to Shopify very soon. And then here is the colorway What Does the Fox Say? I'm sure you all know that reference. This is a little kerchief that my friend Kathy made, which you could either wear around your neck, which I think is very, very cute, or of course, as we all know, kerchiefs are back in style. And so it would make a lovely kerchief. Super happy with how this colorway came out. It needs a bit more red because I was trying to get the red of the fox to come through, but it didn't quite come, so I have to add a little bit more red next time I dye this up. And then this was a hat that I made, and I don't remember the pattern. I'm sure it was a free pattern on Ravelry. If I remember to put it, let me see if it's in my Ravelry actually. I can't remember if I put it in there or not. Hats. And it, is that it? Nope, not the right one. Nope, not the right one. Okay, nope, I didn't put it in Ravelry. But this colorway is called Blueberry Patch. This is a little bit darker than I wanted it. So the next version of this is slightly lighter, and we will be knitting something up in that for the next show. And then this was a shawl that I made as a sample, and I made this into a kit. So it was one skein of fingering weight and one skein of mohair silk. I absolutely love it. I made a couple of different kits like this showing off this pattern, and I made this one, which unfortunately, weirdly enough, did not sell, but my black cherry colorway sold out. And then I put together my black fingering, and I dyed 2 skeins of the mohair silk in a hot pink, a fluorescent fuchsia pink, and put those together. And it was so funny, towards the end of the show, I was telling my girlfriend who was helping me out that day, Melissa, I said, Melissa, if that black and pink skein doesn't sell, I'm making myself a scarf out of that, because I'm dying to see how those two knit up together. And wouldn't you know it, as soon as I said that, they both sold. So I have nothing to show you right now, but I will be dyeing more of that, and I will be making that shawl for myself, or at least a little scarf like this, because I just love black and hot pink. So this was a free pattern from Hobie Yarns. And did I put this on here? I hope so. I did not put it in my Ravelry page yet. Okay, so I will look up this pattern name and I will put it down below. I will also link, I will link all these patterns down in the show notes. Most of them will be on Ravelry. I truly apologize if you cannot use Ravelry, but at least you'll have the pattern name, and maybe you can do a search and see if you could find it somewhere else. But I do know that this is a free pattern off the Hobie site, so you will be able to get this. This was a fun knit. These little nibs were not very hard to knit at all, and it was very easy to keep track of when you needed to increase and decrease. So it's that little scarf motif, and it's knit from tip to tip. And it is just a fun, simple wear. And I love the coziness of it. So this was a fun knit. So those were all the little makes. And then I'm going to show you 2 of the big makes that my friends made for me. This is the Sabai top that my friend Ellen made for me, and this is the colorway, my colorway called Witch Wine. I absolutely love how this turned out, both the color of the yarn and the pattern. Unfortunately, it is not my size or I'd be wearing it, but in order to get my friends to knit me these and be in time for the show, I asked for the smallest sizes so that at least I had samples to show folks of the colors and the patterns. This pattern got a lot of traffic to come into the booth because a lot of people love the pattern. It was great fun, and I'm so pleased that Ellen made this for me. And then this one was made by my friend Candace. This is a lovely, lovely stripe pipe. So I will actually be putting this kit in my shop that has these 5 colorways on it. And I don't exactly remember what I think this one was Heirloom Tomato. I'm pretty sure this may have been purple. I don't remember now. This one was the little blue box. Not quite the Tiffany color, but close. I think this might have been named Izzy Approved Pink because my assistant at work has a little granddaughter that is all about the pinks, and the brighter the better. So I thought it would be cute. She got a kick out of having that named after her. And then the main color is just undyed. So, so these kits will be up in my shop, hopefully within the next week. I'm planning to put together my light box and get all the yarns photographed and up. I'm hoping by the end of Memorial Day weekend. So we shall see. And then I had to pivot in my knitting so that I could also make some shop samples for my next show. So I have 2 projects in the works. I have this beautiful shawl, and let me see if I can remember what it was called. Knitting. It is in here somewhere. Nope, that is Petite Knit. Where the heck is it? I know it's got to be in here. Oh, there it is, Mill City. So this was also a free pattern on Ravelry. It's Mill City Shawl by Carol Davis Johnson. And I am using my fingering weight yarn, fingering sock yarn, and the colorway is Zazu. It's a beautiful, beautiful background of various different shades of grays with speckles of blues, purples, and pinks. And this is one skein, and I need to cake up the next skein so that I can finish this shawl. And that is almost done. I am using my Hayas. In what size am I using? Good question. US 4s. And I got my little Cookie Monster needle protectors. And this is a really simple pattern, really easy repeats, very mindless. You could do it TV knitting. It's just rows of garter and then rows of garter. Sorry, brain fart right there. Menopause brain. What can I say? Bands of garter, bands of knit one, purl ones, and reverse knit one, purl one. So a lot of fun. Looking forward to getting the second skein caked up so that I can finish this. And then I really, really wanted to get a sample in my wool and cotton base. It's a base that I thought would be perfect for spring and summer. It's 50% superwash wool and 50% cotton. It has a lovely drape to it. This is the Tolsta Tank. And I'm at the point where I need to split for the sleeves. But you can see all the pretty colors in here. And this is my color. This colorway is called Chalk Dust because I thought of the little speckles on the white. It just reminds me of those little poofs of chalk dust that explode in the air and stuff. So here it is. It was very, very interesting working with this yarn to see how different the colorways look in this 50-50 base versus a totally wool base. The colors are a bit more muted. If I thought about it, I would have grabbed one of the sock bases so I could have shown it side by side. But maybe I'll take a picture and post it up here so that you guys could see the difference. But this was not exactly a hot seller there, but one of the colorways totally sold out because somebody did buy it to make a sweater. So I'm hoping she tags me on it because I really want to see it. But I thought I would, by making a sample, I'd be able to answer the questions. And for a 50-50 weight yarn, it really is not rough on my hands to work with. It's not, there's a little bit of give, not a whole lot. I'm not finding any splittiness with this. It's been fun to work with. This pattern is fun. I shouldn't say it's fun. It's sort of a mindless because it's all stockinette. I had originally wanted to do the version that had the eyelets over here, but that will probably be my next Tolsta Tee because I do plan on making more. It just is a simple, easy top pattern. I think it's going to be great. It'll be a great pattern to show off these multicolored yarns. I'm looking forward to making another one in a solid. I know I have another one on the needles from previously. If you watched my whip parade, I know it's in there. It's in a silk cotton blend, but like I said, I had to pivot because I need some samples for my next show. And this is both of those projects are in my lovely redesign bag. This is one of the Stephen West ones. It was the color, I think it was rose. And I totally missed the ball on getting, I really want the Project 39 bag, and I was trying to find it, but I totally missed the time frame to buy it, either in the dark cherry that had just come out, or I think Stephen West's shop had a burgundy-ish color, and I couldn't decide between which color, because these are not cheap bags, and I couldn't decide which color I really wanted. And by the time I decided I really wanted the dark cherry, it got sold out. And so then I went over to Stephen and Penelope to try and buy the burgundy, and it was also sold out in the Project 39. So next time, I know I just cannot hesitate, because that is a popular bag. Okay, next up I have just some spinning to share with you guys. I don't have anything fully finished. I just want to share that I have finished spinning up the red and white fiber that was one of my projects for the 12 cast-ons for 2026. So all that's left for me now is to ply these two together. I have to say, I don't really enjoy spinning fiber that is manufactured in this way. So what I mean by that is that this was a silk and wool blend, except the silk was not fully blended. It was, I'm gonna see, hopefully if I have a before picture, I will put it up here, or I will find one online so that you can see what I'm talking about. It's not nice and fully blended like, I don't know how to explain. I'll have to put a picture up here, and you could see in the picture that the white bits are actually the silk. And so when you're spinning this up, you could get it just, I don't know what I'm trying to say. To me right now, this is a little bit more difficult for me to spin. I did manage to spin fairly thin for these two bobbins, and I think plying them together, I will probably have a sport weight, maybe DK, because one bobbin looks like it might be a little bit thicker. So I felt like I really couldn't get a good consistency when the braid is in this format. If it was all one type of fiber and it was just different colors that were done this way, maybe that would be different. And I do have some of that in my stash, so when I ply that up, I will try to remember to think about comparing the two. But when they're separated out, it makes it a little bit, for me at least, at this point in my spinning, it makes it a little bit more difficult to do a consistent spin, because you're spinning the merino, or it could be another fiber, and then you get to the silk, and the silk is very slick. So we'll see what happens when I ply these two together, and I will make my determination after I have wet set that yarn. But for right now, I think I might hold off on purchasing any more braids that are in that manner. So next up, I took one of the braids that I dyed myself. This was a braid of Corriedale Cross, which I think is a mix of Corriedale and Merino. I dyed it up using some leftover blacks and yellows that I had from my dyeing. And when I opened up the braid, there was a lot of yellow. So I split the braid in half lengthwise, and I set one half aside. And then I took the one half and split it in half again. And then I spun it tip to tip, the first piece, and then tip to tip the second piece. And I believe this is that one. And so I'm going to have long stretches of yellow and longer stretches of this gray purpley color, because the black wound up breaking when it was inside, and it was really neat. I should have taken a picture of it before I spun it up, but I forgot to do that. And then the other half of the braid, I split into 8 pieces so that when I spun each piece, and I split them again lengthwise, this way when I spun those pieces, those color changes would be coming much quicker, so that when I apply them together, it should hopefully make for a nicer color changing yarn. And so you could see here how the colors changed much more quickly on this bobbin than they do on this one. So hopefully by my next episode, these both will be applied together and you'll be able to see the finished yarns. So I know it's been a while since my last episode, and I know my last episode, I believe, was I owe somebody a prize. Not my last episode, maybe it was the episode before. It was the episode where I shared all of my whips. And I had a question out there, guess how many whips I'll be sharing, and I would draw for a prize. So I'm going to insert that clip right now because I forgot to do it before I podcasted, so I don't know who the winner is. So here we go to future me.
Here we are on a random comment picker. Let's go to my episode, get the link, go back, paste the link in. Get all my okay, geez, I hate this stupid thing. Get all my comments. We have 9, and let's see who is the winner. Ooh, Yarn and Yarns. All right. All right, Angela, I hope you get in touch with me.
Back. So please, if you were announced in that clip, please, you can get in touch with me either on Instagram, and I am on Instagram as Knit Knot and Weave, or you can send me an email, knitknotandweave@gmail.com, so that I can get that prize out to you. And what that prize is a skein of hand-dyed yarn in this beautiful, beautiful blue colorway. Okay. This is a DK weight base. It's approximately 230 yards, I believe. And this is one of my new colorways. I haven't even named it yet. So if you were picked from the drawing, please get in touch with me. So on that note, let me tell you about my very first vending. It was, I don't even know how to explain all the emotions that I went through that morning. It was nerve-wracking. It was exciting. It was frustrating. I had purchased, I should say I had purchased, I had rented a 10 by 20 space because the price of the booth was not too expensive, and I kind of wanted to make sure that there was room for folks to move around. Sometimes, and it could just be the way people set up, I don't know, sometimes I feel like the single 10 by 10 booths are just a little too claustrophobic for me, and other times I feel like, I don't know, I feel like, you know, it could be if you worked it right. And I just decided for the first time I wanted a little bit bigger space to be able to spread out a little more, and of course hoping that it would get filled up with people who were coming in to look. I didn't want to feel claustrophobic in all of that. So I managed to haul up most of my stuff Friday evening, and set up. My girlfriend Kit met me up at the fairgrounds, and she helped me set up all of my racks. We managed to get all the legs on the racks and all the pegs up to put all the yarn up. I was busy for, I'd say, a good, well, from my last episode up until this episode, or actually from my last episode up until the Frederick Fiber Festival, which was the very last weekend of April. I was busy dyeing pretty much every day when I came home from work, and dyeing all weekend long because I knew I had a pretty nice sized booth that I needed to fill up with yarn, and I had such a blast with my yarn dyeing and my fiber dyeing that I really want this to work. I want this to be able to be my retirement plan because I have 5 more years of 5 more years in education, and then I'm getting out. It's sad to say, but I'm done. We're not going to talk about this right now, otherwise I'm going to cry. So I have 5 years to hopefully build up my yarn dyeing business and make it. I'm not looking to be like another Miss Babs. I just want it to be my small little side income to help support things that I want to do in addition to whatever I have saved for retirement. And I'm praying that that will be enough and that things will change very soon in our economy here because things are not that great right now. And so, anywho, enough about that. I had a wonderful, wonderful time at the Frederick Fiber Festival. My girlfriend Melissa came out and helped me all day long. My older sister Mary came out Saturday morning and helped me to finish getting everything up and how to display things to look pleasing to the eyes and to try and draw people into the booth. I heard lots of great comments from everybody that came into my booth. I felt like there was definitely good flow through the booth. A good number of people came through to look at everything. I do know from my booth neighbors that turnout, I have big mohair is stuck to my, sorry. What was I saying? Oh, my booth neighbors were both had said that turnout was low this year, which I kind of anticipated because unfortunately it was a rainy day, and I know that rainy days are usually not very good for festivals. So I had anticipated that. But I heard a lot of good comments in regards to the colorways that I had made up, and I got a lot of good from those comments. I know where I need to go moving forward. I need to make more tonals, and I need to make more tonals that sort of match up with my multicolored variegateds and speckled yarns. So I have a plan moving forward. I have already applied for my next 2 shows. I'm hoping to be at the Maryland Alpaca Festival in November, and I'm hoping to be at the Shenandoah Fiber Festival in, I believe that's in September. And then I also have the Fall Frederick Fiber Festival, which is in October. So, crossing my fingers that it all works out. Like I said, I will be photographing all my yarns, getting them up in the shop, and then I will start dyeing all over again. So, let's move on to the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival. I had a blast. I was so happy that it was not going to be a hot and humid weekend. I was so happy that it was not going to be a rainy weekend. I couldn't care less that it was a little bit chilly. I started the weekend by taking Friday off and did Yarncentric with my friend Margaret. We met up there and we had a blast. We had the second set of tickets, so we got there a little bit early. We did the outside yarn trucks, so that was, I can't even remember which ones were there now. Cesium Yarn and Maryland Fibers. Oh my god, I can't believe I can't remember her. She's got the cute little crab in her logo. Oh my god, I can't remember. I will put the name of her shop down here, but I love the idea of those little yarn trucks. I would love to be able to do that, but I am by myself. There's no way that I would be driving a hitch, especially not on the back of the car that I have, and I don't know if I would be able to. It would take me a lot of practice before I'd be able to maneuver those separate things. So that is probably not in my future. Oh, let me share first that while we were at Yarncentric, we did get to meet up with Rachel and Renee. Wonderful, wonderful ladies. I absolutely love their podcast. If you have not seen them, their podcast is called Table 10. They are two sisters that knit and play off of each other, and they post every Thursday morning. They are absolutely hysterical to watch. Both of my sisters know how to knit and crochet. They just don't get the enjoyment out of it that I do. I wish they did. I wish I had a sister that I could podcast with the way those two do, but they are incredible. They are adventurous, and I can't believe the amount that they get done in a day. I also got to meet Tashi from Stitches and Starlight. If you don't watch her, I highly suggest going over and watching her channel, especially if you're a spinner. She is so knowledgeable. It is unbelievable. And to know that she's only been spinning since, I think she said since COVID. Yes, I think she said she's only been spinning since COVID. And she is so incredibly knowledgeable in sheep, fleeces, how to spin things. It was wonderful. After our time was up, Margaret and I went and had a lovely, lovely lunch. Then we headed over to Magpie. We spent a little time there. I purchased nothing at Magpie. She did, I believe. I can't remember. Maybe she didn't. We went to Magpie because we had both signed up for Tashi's class that she was teaching that night at Magpie. It was called Breed Study, but I wouldn't say it was exactly a breed study class, but it was definitely educational in ideas of how to spin things. Tashi is a lover of the medium wools, and so she was able to show us that you could spin them in different ways and how soft they feel. Some of them, if you just spin them as a single, in a very loose single, it is so much softer than if you had attempted to twist it in a tight spin, like a worsted spin, and then ply them. So that gives me some ideas for when I start doing the spinning for my breed study. She shared a lot of knowledge of how she does things. It was an enjoyable class. It was a small class, but I had a lot of fun there. A lot of fun talking with her. Like I said, she is just so knowledgeable when it comes to sheep, certain breeds, spinning. I wish I had the time and energy to do a fleece, but because I would have definitely gone with or met her up at the fleece barn at Maryland Sheep and Wool so that she could have helped me pick out a fleece to purchase, but that might be on the agenda for next year's Maryland Sheep and Wool. We shall see. But hopefully Margaret and I are going to get together this summer, and I will be able to wash a fleece with her. And then, so she will teach me how to properly wash and dry a fleece, while I will teach her how to dye her wool, be it either pre-spinning or after spinning. So I'm looking forward to getting together with you, Margaret. I know you're watching. Let's figure out some time where we can get together and do this, because I'm not doing summer school this summer. Okay. So next up, we have Maryland Sheep and Wool. It was a chilly day. Melissa and I went together and we bought the pre-sale tickets. It turns out that the folks at Maryland Sheep and Wool have finally figured out how to do pre-sale tickets in a more manageable way. So it does make it quicker for you to do the pre-purchase tickets. Hopefully they will continue in this manner. So what they did is they had all the pre-sale tickets lined up. There were 4 different lines this year for the pre-sale tickets. And before the gates opened, they had one person for each line just going down the line, scanning your tickets and stamping your hand, so that when the gates opened, that whole section was able to walk right through. And it was literally from the gate all the way back to where the first road, and I use that in a very, very loose term. The first road was before the parking section started. And so when the gates opened, that whole section had already been checked in. They were able to go right down the line. Across the road is where the second section was starting. And I don't think that they were pre-scanned. I think that as they moved up, they were probably scanned so that the pre-sale ticket folks were able to get in much quicker. And then there was a line for the cash folks, and that did go a little bit slower. But Melissa and I went together and we met up with a couple of friends there. We set up our chairs in the middle section where the big tree is and where they have the stage that there's usually music playing. And there was 6 of us. And so we just sort of did a little circle. We had a blanket in the middle, and that was so we had some place like nice and dry that we could put our purchases down on. So we could, go do a barn or two and then go and sit for a little while. This was a great help to me because of my bad knees. Standing on concrete cement for a long period of time really does irritate my knee. I don't know why. Standing still does, but it does. And that is my issue, but this was a way to combat that. And so if one of us was going to sit there and hang out for a little while, our group was able to just leave their purchases there. They didn't have to carry them around if someone was going to be sitting there hanging out. So Melissa and I knew that we had no plans to run to see anything special. Like, we had no desire to go run to Miss Babs for the show color. We had nothing specific that we really had to get. So we set up. Melissa went and got us coffee and a breakfast sandwich so that I could take my morning meds, because unfortunately my meds irritate my stomach. So I always have to have something to eat. And we hung out for a little while, and then we started to do a little shopping. We went down and we did the main barn first, and then we did some of the lower corral so that we didn't have to walk all the way down there again. Then we went and sat for a little bit. Then we saw Tashi, Trish, and Rachel and Renee as they were heading to the fleece barn, or actually coming out of the fleece barn. We ran into my friend Margaret and her kid and her daughter and her partner, and Margaret picked up 2 more fleeces. So I think those probably will be the fleeces that we will be washing this summer, hopefully. And we just had a really nice and relaxing day. Neither one of us had anything in particular we wanted to pick up, so we were able to just sort of stroll along, take a look at things. We did not get to the animals. It was just, I think we were just a little too chilly to just sort of hang out in the cold. So if you are only here for the yarny goodness, you don't want to see the haul, the rest of this is just going to be my haul from Yarncentric and Maryland Sheep and Wool and my weekend in Pittsburgh. Then thank you so much for hanging out with me today. If you have enjoyed this episode, please, please, please go down and hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and ring that bell so that you can see and get notified whenever I put out an episode. And if you are here for all the yarny goodness, let's keep going. But anyway, let me share with you what I did get at Yarncentric. My first purchase at Yarncentric was their bag. Oops, over here. Simple Yarncentric. I got the orange. I thought it was lots of fun. Let's see, what do I have in here? So table 10, they gave out these cute little tins so that you could put things in them. Your little, oops, what is in here? Oh, a cute little table 10 stitch marker. It says table 10. If you go watch Rachel and Renee at table 10, I think it's episode 3 where they explain why their podcast is called Table 10, and it's lots of fun. And then I got a little sticker from them. And then my purchases. So first up, I finally got to see Ex Libris. I have been stalking them on Instagram, but Dark and Moody Yarns I really like to see in person before I purchase them. And she had so many beautiful colors to choose from. But these 2 really, really called to me. And they are on her sock fingering base, which is 75% superwash merino, 25% recycled nylon, 437 yards. And are these colors not gorgeous? Look at them. So this one is the Green Lion, and this one is Hate Machine. Beautiful, beautiful purples with that black overtone. And this green, I can't tell if it's a little black overtone or if it's darker greens. But I'm thinking these together with my black fingering, ooh, I've got to figure something out to make with these three. And then she had this cute little sticker, and I just could not resist. It says over wool medicated. I thought it was hysterical. So that was one purchase. Afterwards, I stopped by the Yarncentric, not the Yarncentric booth, what am I saying? The Black Pearl Magic booth, and I got to have a wonderful, wonderful conversation with Shayla again. And I got to see all of her new stuff, and I made a purchase. It's all Margaret's fault. She wouldn't tell me no. So the first thing that caught my eye was Shayla's new bag style. And then the very first thing that caught my eye was the new plastic that she had. And when she told me that she designed the plastic, I just knew I had to get it. And then I had to decide between, should I get the same style of bag that I already have, or should I give her new style bag a try? And I decided to give the new style bag a try. So here it is. This is her box bag. And this is the design that she created. And it says all kinds of fun things: mohair, pearl, crochet, weave, socks, knit tube, purl tube, project cozy. I love the pop of the lime green on the zipper. And then the back is her sparkly pink base. And then of course the lovely Black Pearl Magic. And I love the little stars on the zipper that are the zipper pulls. And so this was a purchase. And I can't wait to see how it actually, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And then I found these there, and I couldn't resist. And of course, Margaret didn't help me to resist them either. They're little cauldron stitch markers. Aren't they adorable? All for my witchy vibes. So now I have cauldron stitch markers. I have a cauldron yarn bowl up in my yarn room. Now I just need a real cauldron. Then I went to Yarn Jam, and that was my downfall. So many beautiful colors Trish had out that I almost couldn't decide. She had her Podcast 2.0 colorways out, but I had already ordered colorways, and I ordered the Big Sis Energy, Little Sis Energy, and Tashi's colorway. I can't remember the name of the colorway for the life of me. But I already bought those, and I think they got delivered, and they are upstairs. I didn't even think to bring them down to show you guys. So I guess I will put that in the next episode. But couldn't decide which ones I wanted, and then I came across these, and that was it. So here is the Caterpillar Asks. I am a huge Alice in Wonderland fan. So I decided I got 2 of those, and then she had a sample of a 3-ply sample with this colorway, and then a solid turquoise colorway that matches. And I really liked how it turned out, but I decided there was a lot of turquoise in these 2 colorways already. So I went for a pop of pink. And this one's called Electric Strawberry. So this will be a 3-ply spin at some point. Maybe it will be during Tour de Fleece, but my first spin has to be another BFL so that I could finish up my Traveler Shawl. And that was all my purchases from Yarncentric. While Tashi was there doing her demonstration spinning and talking to all of us, she did have a couple of stickers on the table that we could take. So I took one, Wool Chaos and Fiber Joy. As you know, this is her saying. And then Frivolous Cast-Ons and Energy Incoming. And you know, cats and yarn, I couldn't resist that one either. So that was Yarncentric. These purchases are in no particular order. I'm just sort of going to pull them out of the bag and share them with you. First up, in the barn, in the main building down at the bottom, we went to a, I always have trouble saying this one, Apothecary Fabrications. And I knew that they were going to be there. This is the first time I got to see them at a festival, and I was really looking for, I wanted to see what they had in their baby doll South Down, because this is a breed of sheep that I'm told that I could spin sock yarn out of, and it's a hardy base and it doesn't felt. So I found these two colors. Now this dyer does not name her colors. She does on the website. I have bought her some of her braids before off of her website. They have a color name on the website, but she doesn't write them on her tags. So here is one. Beautiful deep colors of like purple, tealy, and a like nice little burgundy color. And then this one just kind of sort of reminded me of the Maryland flag. You have your reds, your golds, your black, and a little white. So I don't know what it is about Marylanders, but they love their flags, and I thought, I've lived here long enough now that I guess I should love it too. But I figured they'll make fun socks. If I can get this thin enough, maybe I'll make a pair of socks for my brother-in-law, because he's definitely a Maryland flag lover. So, and I believe Melissa got this one too. I can't remember if she got this one. I think it was this one. So, 2 braids from Apothecary Fibers. Then we stopped at Bare Naked Wool, and I saw this bag, and it immediately made me think of my sister, because every time I go to my sister's house and pull out my project to work on while we watch a movie or something, she's always like, "What are you making me?" And so I thought that next time I go over to her house, I would bring this one. I know, I'm cruel. But anyway, what did I buy there? I bought 2 skeins of yarn, and they were in bases that I have not tried from them before. So here is Fin Dandy, which is a 3-ply sport weight. Beautiful gray color. Probably going to make maybe fingerless mitts or a hat out of it. I want to see how the fin feels, because Tashi did a lot of talking about fin sheep in her class that I took with her. And then this one is Targi Tango worsted, which I totally blame on Rachel. Right? Rachel? Yes, Rachel, because she just oohed and awed over this yarn, and she made herself a sweater out of. So I bought 1 skein to make, let's see, how many yards are in this one? 250. So probably either some sort of a cowl or maybe fingerless mitts, just so I could see how it is against my skin before I commit to a sweater's quantity, because this was not an inexpensive skein of yarn. So anywho, so that's what I got from Bare Naked Wools. I wanted to buy so much more to try out, but I had a budget. I had to sort of, like, you know, stick to it, because I'm on a teacher's salary. After that, Melissa's one request was she did not want to go to Into the World, because she always winds up picking up the same color yarn every time we go in there, and she already has a sweater made out of that yarn, which I think is hysterical. And the one thing that I did want to go to was Into the World, because I wanted some of their bits and bobs, hopefully, if they didn't run out already. And I wanted to see what other bases they had some of their braids in. So we did go to Into the World, and I did manage to get 2 bags of their bits and bobs. So I'm going to spin these up. I'll probably spin 1 bag up and on one bobbin, and the other bag up on the other bobbin, and then ply them together, because I just love the crazy yarns that these make when they spin up. So that was one. And then I picked up 2 more braids from them. I got Mirror Pox on their Cormo. These beautiful, beautiful colors. Let me see if I can. And then I picked up Mud Bogs and Moonshine on Gray Cordale. So I don't know, these might get spun up together. I haven't decided yet. And that was my Into the World purchase. Then we went back and sat down for a little bit, and Ellen and Judy joined us, and they shared their yarn that they bought at Aisling's Yarns. And so I blame all of this purchase on them, because I had no intentions of going to Aisling's Yarns. But when they showed me, or I should say when I touched this base, there was, I had to go. I mean, this is 75%, 16.5 micron superwash merino, 15% mulberry silk, and 10% cashmere. This is a 2-ply sock fingering, 400 meters, 438 yards. And this one is called Mountain Mist. Is that not a gorgeous colorway? Oh, and the feel of this, oh my God. It is just so stinking soft. This definitely has to be something that I wear around my neck. And this is definitely me. This is a me color. While I was there, I did manage to find, well, I don't know why I said that. It's not like I was looking for it, but they had some interesting bases that I wanted to try out. So here is natural UK raised, 50% non-superwash BFL and 50% non-superwash Masham. In a fingering weight, it's 100 grams, 492 yards. So this is their natural base. I may or may not over dye it. I haven't decided yet. But I wanted to try that. And then did I get 1 or 2 of these? Let me see. I got 2 of these. Interesting. Why did I do that? Oh, because they're 2 different bases. That's why. So this is another natural, 75% non-superwash British BFL and 25% Gotland, 437 yards, a pretty light gray. And then this is a 75% non-superwash British BFL and 25% Masham. So maybe I must have gotten these 2 to go together to do something. So it's possible that I might over dye both of these, because the gray, the grayness of the base will make it a deeper color, and then I could do some sort of color work with them. Who knows? I don't know, but it was a base I haven't used before and thought I would give it a try. And then our last purchase was at, I think it's called Susan's Fiber Barn. We saw this braid, Melissa and I both saw this braid, but we held off and we said, well, if we go back at the end of the day and it's still there, we'll purchase it. Well, guess what? We went back at the end of the day and it was still there. So here is, it's called Apina Fiber. It is 80% Shaniko wool and 20% mulberry silk in this beautiful bright color. And we purchased 4 ounces of black merino to go with it. So we're going to have 1 bobbin of black, 1 bobbin of this, and then they're going to get plied together. And that, friends, is all I've got for you. So that is what I purchased at Maryland Sheep and Wool. Did I need to purchase more braids? No, absolutely not. Did I purchase more braids? Absolutely. And then last weekend, my friend Kit and I drove up to Pittsburgh and spent the weekends with my girlfriend Andrea and her husband Tom. We had a wonderful, wonderful, relaxing weekend. But the one thing I did want to do while we were there was go visit the Moon and Yarn shop. I was hoping Brienne was going to be there because I so enjoy speaking to her when I run into her, but she was not. And so we looked around, we had fun. The shop is beautiful. If you are ever in Pittsburgh, I highly suggest you go take a look at her shop. You go visit her. It was a fun shop to go to. And I wound up purchasing one skein of Making Tracks from Junction Mill Fiber. This is called Vermont Vice. I really like the colors. They just popped out and spoke to me. I think these would make fun fingerless mitts. Maybe a cowl, I don't know. But I got that. And then they had some River Rat yarn fiber. And I purchased this. Beautiful, beautiful fiber. This is Rambouillet, 21 microns. This is called Little Peeps. And then I saw that they had Yarn Jam there. And this was called Beach Party. This is 100% Shanico. And I thought those might look good together. What do you think? You think those would spin up nicely together? I think so. And then I bought a couple of stickers while I was there. I bought one that says Wool Witch. How could I not? Anti-Fascist Craft Club lifetime member. And then spinning is magical. And I thought that was all I was going to be purchasing, but at the counter, they had these cute little hair clips. And I couldn't resist. How cute is this? A ball of yarn with needles and a hook. Perfect for me since I do both. And I can't wait to wear this. And that is officially my hauls from festivals and vacation weekends. So on that note, folks, I am going to say goodbye. I hope you have lots of yarny, fibery goodness in your life that you can work on. I hope that you are taking time for yourselves, that you are resting and getting some mindfulness peace in this crazy, crazy world that we are living in right now. And I will see you guys soon. Ciao, ciao. Love y'all.